Hello everyone! Today let's tackle a topic that's been at the forefront of cultural discourse: representation. We'll delve into its history, limitations, and implications, and question whether it's truly the best path forward. In the 90s, the buzzword was egalitarianism, a belief that anyone can achieve anything, regardless of their background. But as we've evolved into a society fixated on representation, have we lost sight of this foundational principle? Let me share a personal anecdote. As a teenager, I faced significant challenges that impacted my education. This experience made me question, does the notion of anyone can be anything truly hold up in reality? Especially when societal structures often favor those with more resources. Representation, as we see it today, started with positive intentions. Think of Whoopi Goldberg, inspired by the character Uhura in Star Trek. But has this pursuit turned into something else entirely?
I'm just going to ask you one question. You tell me why. Why do you want to be on the show while you're on the big screen? This is the small screen. She said, and this is Jean told me, she said, it's all Nichelle Nichols' fault. She said, well, see, when she first came on the screen, I was 9 years old. And she said, I thought she was the most beautiful thing that ever happened on television or anywhere else. And she was a black woman playing in the future, and I knew we had a future. And I remember when she came, I said, oh, I ran through the house, I screaming, hey, come quick, everybody. There's a black lady on television, and she ain't no maid. Jean sat there and said, like she said, and I knew that I could be anything that I wanted to be, so it's Nichelle's fault and yours.
Consider this. In British media, certain ethnic groups are represented far beyond their actual population percentage. Is this truly reflective of our society, or is it an overcorrection, driven by a desire to appease certain vocal groups? There's also a trend of revising history for the sake of representation. While inclusivity is important, it's crucial to maintain historical accuracy. Misrepresenting historical figures or events does a disservice to our understanding of the past. This approach leads to paradoxes. Take Disney's Snow White adaptation, avoiding the casting of shorter actors to not misrepresent a community, or the idea that only certain groups can portray villains to avoid offending. Doesn't this contradict the idea of equal representation?
Davros, the iconic creator of the Daleks and one of the most influential antagonists in the show's entire history. Now, eagle-eyed viewers might just be able to spot a few subtle differences between this Davros and the one from classic Doctor Who episodes like Genesis of the Daleks. Why does he look like a regular human now instead of this weird wrinkly rubber thing? Why doesn't he talk with his creepy electronic voice like before? And why is he walking around on fully functional legs instead of rocking his funky motorized chair like he always has until now? Well, the answer to those questions might just surprise you, dear viewer. Actually, no, forget that, they totally won't. Especially not when you hear what Russell himself has got to say about it.
Time and society and culture and taste has moved on, and there's a problem with the Davros of old in that he's a wheelchair user who is evil. And I had problems with that, and a lot of us on the production team had the problems with that, of associating disability with evil.
Are you serious? This right here is the reason the new run of Doctor Who is going to fail, just like the previous run did. Because much like Chris Chibnall with The Timeless Children, Russell has just demonstrated that he's more than willing to rewrite and retcon one of the most iconic characters in the show's 60-year run in order to fit with the message. Can't be associating disability with evil, so gone is the wheelchair, gone is the crippled arm, gone is the electronically assisted voice, gone is literally everything that made him so interesting and mysterious in the first place. Instead, Davros has been redesigned into the most boring, generic-looking bad guy since Dar-Ben from the Marvels. Represented, of course, by the only group of people that the BBC now consider it acceptable to associate with pure evil. Thanks, guys. Great to know how much you despise the very people who pay your license fee and allow you to keep operating. I'll be sure to bear that in mind when mine's due for renewal.
What we need is a return to a more balanced, egalitarian approach, one where we don't just see the world through the narrow lens of identity politics, but recognize the multifaceted nature of human experience. In summary, while representation has its merits, it's time we reevaluate its application. Individuals should never be seen to represent other people just because they share characteristics. Viewing all people as being the same because they look the same is a form of racism. We should only ever represent ourselves, and if elected, those we serve. Nobody should be punished for a crime they didn't commit just because they look similar to an individual or group that may have committed it. Nobody should ever be seen to represent others with similar characteristics unless they are elected to do so by that community. I encourage everyone to think critically about these issues. Let's engage in a constructive dialogue in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.
And the thing is, I don't even know what they imagine they're protecting with all of their fake concern. Like, do you really think that anyone, anywhere on Earth has ever looked at Davros and thought, oh my god, Derek from down the street uses a wheelchair, maybe he's a genocidal mass-murdering scientist developing a race of mutated armor-killing machines as well? Instead of protecting and elevating people with disabilities, you're actually putting them down by implying that they can't actually accomplish anything that Davros did. Even with his physical body crippled, he remained a supremely cunning and dangerous enemy, a brilliant scientific intellect, a formidable military tactician, and one of the most important and dangerous characters in Doctor Who history. And as a character, Davros was never defined by his physical limitations. He didn't brood and agonize over them, they were simply part of his history that he learned to adapt to and overcome, proving the point that physical disabilities don't have to be a barrier to achieving incredible things, both good and bad. That a person is more than how fast they can run or how much they can lift. Pretty inspiring when you think about it. Compare that kind of subtle and nuanced character development to what we have today, where the good people at the BBC are more than happy to mock, belittle, and place all kinds of judgments and limitations on someone's potential for the crime of being the wrong race or gender.